Blades. 3 points. Can't believe it. Absolutely unreal result. Unreal. First thing I want to say is fair play to Eki. I tweeted this out last night, but I've sort of tagged it as swallowing his pride a little bit. I think that's the most he can say to, I got it wrong in previous game. Obviously, legs are gone from some lads. Norwood, who's been, slogged all season, he's played every game. Made 4 changes, brought in all players we were talking about wanting in. We were joking last night that he's a massive fan at Ramble, clearly. Well, he still had Robinson and Max Lowe in, didn't he? So, clearly not that big a fan, but I always worry about that left-hand side, and that's what undid us again. I know some are saying that Egan were at fault because he initially went out of position and Robinson dropped in to cover him, and that left Robinson's man. I mean, but it always seems to happen down left-hand side. He's always susceptible. All this chest beating and stuff like that, and being strong in tackle. We love that side of Robinson's game, but he can switch off. And Max Lowe he's not a left back for me. I know we're playing left wing back, but he's got all the qualities of a winger and very little defensive qualities for me. But that aside, I mean, I thought the referee was poor, but I thought we benefited mostly from the referee being poor for a change. Every side will always say that the ref was, unless you get everything given in your favour, the ref can never win. And it's a tough gig that they've got, but the standard at the moment is very poor. I liked what he tried to do in terms of letting the game flow and, the tougher challenges where people are getting nudged off the ball and things of that nature. I thought we played a risky game in the box at times, although I didn't think there were fouls. You're giving him the option, when we don't necessarily trust the standard of referee, and you're giving him the option to give a penalty to other team. Their yellow card where lad scissors Jebo is a red all day long, which he missed. But then I don't know whether he felt like he'd made a mistake and bottled it, so he ought to make it up to us. But I thought we got the majority of decisions, even stuff like throw-ins he were getting wrong. Giving us throw-ins that should have been for them. And our goal were offside because Sander and Egan both make attempts to go for it. And it just, obviously, that means the keeper's in one position, doesn't react to the initial cross from Tommy Doyle, which ends up going in bottom corner. Having said all that, we were the much better side, and the changes brought so much energy to the team. It were night and day from Luton. Tommy Doyle got man at match, which I thought were well deserved. Played really well in that Norwood pivot, but he played deeper with Sander. I was talking to somebody earlier and they were sort of saying, I hope we play at Duffy role, with McAtee at Duffy role. I was thinking, no, I think it'll probably be Doyle deep with Sander and McAtee slightly further forward. Well, it wasn't. What I interpreted it to be last night was Doyle and Sander sort of sitting, and I thought Sander had a better game last night. I'm usually quite critical of Sander just because of his high standards. And then it were McAtee and Dye just behind Jebison. And I thought Jebison did really well as sort of a lone striker, being well supported by our 2 10s, if you like. I thought Jebison did really well, really physical, caused their 2 centre-halves on his own loads of problems. It's his shirt to lose for me now. I don't think that'll be the case. I don't think that'll happen. But, Eki proved us wrong tonight, didn't he? So, I thought McAtee, really, really good. That goal was Premier League quality. That was, what a fantastic finish. He's getting better, that kid. He's inconsistent, which you're going to get from a 19-year-old kid. But, again, you cannot drop Tommy Doyle, McAtee, Jebo. I thought Baldock looked fantastic as well, much more solid down right-hand side. Those 4 that you've brought in, how do you drop them? I think Jebo will be sacrificed, unfortunately, because Eki's a big fan of McBurney, as am I, to a degree. I know he definitely splits opinion. But I think when players are doing well, you leave them in. The other thing I wanted to mention was, I know Tommy got man at match, and I'm a huge Tommy Doyle fan, as you know. I thought he was great, but Illiman and Dye were best player on pitch yesterday by a country mile. I thought him getting out of them tight spaces, creating chances out of nothing. You know, he's unbelievable and he's way too good for this division. I'm wondering if that's now the expected standard for him. So it's just, it's another brilliant Illiman performance. So he don't get talked about for man at match or anything like that. I thought he was fantastic again last night. And with the whispers that if we go up, we could keep him and we're confident that he'll sign a contract with us, I didn't think about it. So what a difference it makes. What a difference, 3, 4, 5 days makes. Talking to me you'll see from my video on Saturday how down I was, because I thought we lost, they won. At one point during that day, it were an 8-point gap because we were drawing and they were losing. And then they pull it back and it's down to 4. And now we were fully expecting, I were expecting them to beat Stoke. Turns out Stoke were better side on the night and should have won. But they got a point, reduced it to 3, and we've now extended it again to 6. So we're definitely going to be in second spot going into international break, which is unreal. I thought we reacted superbly. Like Boro have done, to be fair, whenever we've slipped up, Boro have capitalised and used that as an incentive to go and close the gap. Well, we used them slipping up last night as an incentive for us to extend it. So, fantastic. And the one thing we can't lose sight of is 9 games to go. It's not a long way now. We've still got difficult games in front and we've got to take it a game at a time. The next league game up is Norwich away, which I still think is a really tricky game, but they lost at home to Sunderland, who we've obviously just dominated. Let's be fair. They drew last night away at Huddersfield, and it were really poor. And Marquinhos got sent off, Arsenal kid on loan, so unless that gets overturned by appeal, because apparently it were a weak red, but unless that gets overturned, he won't be in the squad for our game either. So if we go there and get 3 points, I don't even want to think about it, because the gap could well be 3 points going into international break, because Boro play Preston on Saturday. Wales having cup game. So we're all Preston on Saturday. Ched Evans, man on fire. We've still got to play Preston, so I'm not going to go too heavy on to how much, we're a Preston fan at the moment, but we certainly will be on Saturday. Would love it if they could get some at Middlesbrough. They've still got an outside chance at playoffs, as I was saying the other day, so don't rule them out. In terms of our cup game, what would you do? I'm not going to do an official watch your team. That might come closer to the game, to be fair, but at minute, I'm umming and ahhing. What you've got to think is we've got a 2-week break after the Blackburn game, so we don't have to worry about resting players per se, but I certainly don't want players to get injured. We want to make it through to Wembley, but that would mean another game in hand, which would mean Boro have got a chance to completely close the gap, if you like. So there's swings and roundabouts, which sounds ridiculous when you're talking about an FA Cup semi-final. But obviously you want us to go for it, but for me, you don't put all the eggs in the FA Cup basket. I think with the questionable calls that Ecky's going to make in terms of who stays in up top, I think Doyle's got to stay in the team, and I think McAtee's got to stay in the team. This is for if it were a league game next, and I think Baldock's got to stay in the team. I think with FA Cup game, you give players a chance to redeem themselves in terms of their performance. So the onus is now back on McBurney, Bogle, Norwood to get themselves back in contention. So I would play more of the big hitters, if you like, the underperforming big hitters, and the only thing I would do is I'd keep Jebison in, because I think he'll be undecided on Jebo. I don't think he will do it, because if Jebo scores 1 or 2 against Blackburn and gets us through, it won't be able to drop him then for Norwich, and I think he favours McBurney. But he surprised me last night with his team selection, and again, I have to give credit to Ecky for swallowing his pride and going with the team that he did. And the questions will be, why didn't it come earlier? Why we've been clamouring for Tommy Doyle to start? Why hadn't it happened sooner? But that aside, you can only credit him for biting the bullet, changing the team. I thought the game management as well, by the way, at the end of that game was unreal. That was experience and professionalism. Them last 5-10 minutes, I was pacing around. I couldn't stand it. It was not fun to watch. But when you look at it, really, they had nothing. They hoofed the ball downfield once. I thought on around 75 minutes, we'd started to tire. The press had dropped off. We were inviting pressure because we weren't tight enough and we needed to make changes. I know some have questioned the subs that he made, Andy the Blade included, but I think we needed to make those subs at that time. I would probably have gone a little bit more defensive, but I'm more nervous than Eki is in terms of holding on to that lead. And when I'm talking about that, I'm saying maybe I'd have brought, when McAtee goes down, I'd have brought Basham on in midfield or something of that nature just to shore it up a little bit. But 3 points. It's not easy to go to Sunderland and win, by the way, no matter what form they're in. Huge result that, because let's be right, I think we certainly wouldn't have wanted it, but before the game I think we'd have taken a point. We needed the 3. We got the 3. Unbelievable result. It's looking a lot brighter, but obviously we know there's a long way to go. There's twists and turns to come. We'll certainly be squeaky again if Boro win on Saturday. So, got to keep focused, but keep that energy in the side. I can't see how he drops the lads that he's brought in now. But it's a nice problem to have, isn't it? So, thanks again for watching. Please, if you do like what we're doing, subscribe. I was 30 away from 1,000, so we're not far away at all. I've lost 2 subscribers since, so 32 away now. Maybe that were a couple of Boro fans that were following me because we were having quite friendly banter, and it's one of those, to be fair, everybody's welcome here. It's not a ha-ha, Boro, stick that up your sort of thing. Boro have been fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and if they go up automatic, they'll deserve it. But clearly, on a Blades channel, we only want one outcome to this promotion race. So if you can, please do like and subscribe. I'll try and reply to everybody in the comment section as well. So appreciate the support. Come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blade!